All right, we are live. Just type in the chat right now. Let me know if you can hear me or not. All right, let me know if you can hear me or not. Would appreciate that. And we are going to be working on a different model this time around. All right, let's just see. Loud and clear. Great. Thank you, Tim. Appreciate it, bud. All right. Welcome, Connor. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Probably hear the airplane outside, too. Oh, that's a helicopter, actually. It's coming in close. There it goes. Pretty cool. All right. That's appropriate, considering I am working on a helicopter. And what I'm working on now is the Trumpeter Mi-24P, the Hind F, this one here. Okay. Russian helicopter. I built the same helicopter, not the exact same kit, but the same helicopter, I guess it was about 1.5 years ago. Was pleased with how that model turned out, but it wasn't as good as I thought it could do. So I wanted to give it another shot. I absolutely love this helicopter. Loved it since I was a kid. Helicopter flying over again. Wow, that sounds pretty low. Yeah, just always interested me, so I wanted to do it again and see if I can do an even better job. And that kit was the Zvezda, one of the Zvezda kits, and it was good. It just it lacked rivets on the exterior, infamously so. There's been a lot written about that as an issue. I added my own 3D rivets, and then the canopy. Compared to this one, this canopy is really, wow. They're flying so low. This canopy is looks like it's gonna be much easier to work with than the very the canopy that the Zvezda kit had. It was in several pieces, and this one is only really one piece here, and then the two doors, the two hatches. So unfortunately there's a seam going across here, but I know how to deal with those. But other than that, the kit is working out really well. It seems to be a fairly smooth as far as the fit. Everything's fitting really well. The detail is nice. It's crisp. That said, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to continue with some scratch building. I wanted to show you what I've got so far and then tackle a little bit more of it. So here is the starboard side of the interior, and pretty much all the white details are stuff that I've added. Okay, except for the I have masks over the windows here. And show you the port side, the same kind of idea. Okay, so these are boxes and hooks for the firearms that would be sticking out the window. And here is the top portion of the interior, the troop cabin, with some details added. This whole section I scratch built out of plastic, and this whole section I scratched built out of plastic, and these are going to go in between the cockpit compartment and the troop compartment. So they're essentially going to sit like here. Now, when the door is open, which I plan to have the door open, this will be one thing that I did and will be doing differently than I did on the Zvezda kit. I always wanted to have the doors open. I just didn't do it in the last one. But anyway, you're going to be able to look in, and as you look from the interior over to the cockpit area, there should be quite a few things that catch your eye. And so that's what I've essentially created here. These are, they're essentially like cubbies or lockers for the troops that would be carried inside. And I really just built the facade of them, just the face. I didn't want to like actually build three-dimensional pieces because that wasn't going to be seen. What was going to be seen was just the front surface. And on this, this will be on the from the starboard side looking into the cockpit area. You'll see probably about this much in material. And so I wanted to build that up as well. These have not been painted. They've been primed, but not painted yet. And in the troop compartment on the rear side, I added a bunch of other details as well. So essentially, what we're looking at here is, here's the troop compartment, like this. Okay, we're going to have these pieces here. Okay, this on the rear, and then the top portion here. Of course, nothing's working smoothly now. I did dry fit everything, but maybe I should. Yeah, it's not. It's a little. Everything's a little bit too tight right now still. But let's get it going here. Okay. All right. This will be on top here. Okay, well, they're not going to fit. That's all right. I'll adjust those later. Anyway, you're going to look inside, okay? And then on this side will be the lockers, okay? So again, you'll be able to look from inside this section and look forward, and I really wanted to have something there. So that's the plan, okay? What I'm working on right now, if you're familiar with this helicopter, there is a seat, a bench essentially for the troops to sit on, okay? And I'm going to use a few pieces from the kit, and then the rest I'm going to scratch build, because as good a job as the company did to make it look like the bench, it's not exactly accurate, okay? So there's going to be, they did give me these pieces here, which are for the bottom of the seats. Essentially go here, like that, okay? But I wanted to make my own. I want to make them a little bit thinner, a little bit more to scale, and there's a few more parts that go to it. So I'm just gonna take this, not use it. I will use some plastic, rod, and other things to make it more realistic. Okay, so that's the plan, and then I'll create some seat belts. All right. Anything else I need to show? I think that's pretty good for now. What are you guys working on right now? Let me know in the chat. I'd love to know. It is the sound of freedom. Absolutely, David. The sound of the helicopters going by. Although I fear it might be, they might be fire helicopters, Cal Fire. We do have some fires that occur in the hills where I live. So hopefully, fingers crossed, hopefully nothing like that's going on. They seem to have quieted down. All right. They didn't sound like Hueys, so I don't know exactly what helicopter it was. But yeah, let me know what you're working on currently. And we're going to tackle some of this now. Let's take a look here. I added some CA to a few of the pin marks that were present. There are two very large pin marks here, but I'm going to cover this whole section with tape to give it more of a fabric look. So I'm not worried about those, but there is some dried glue right here. So let me just bring this down. All right, let's see. F14A 132. That's right, Tim. You were over here on Monday, in fact. Good to see you in the chat, bud. Yeah, every now and then, myself and my two buds, we get together and we do what we call model church. So they come over in the morning. Usually it would be Sunday morning, but I got summer off and they happen to be available. So they came over and we're going to meet again, I think, on Friday. Looking forward to that. All right, let's see. JIME Darkwing 104 Old Monogram 148 F15E. Very nice. Oh, excellent. That's a nice kit. Old Ravel for F14. Yep, Tim. And Connor, your Mi-24 Shvezda, I got a lot on the bench. Yeah. It's a good kit. It really is a good kit. I can still visualize some of the things that I could have done better on it. I do have videos out there, and they were informative. There were some things I thought I did that were pretty good. In fact, if I remember, I did also do some scratch build work on the interior for that one as well, but just enough. I didn't go kind of all out, just enough so that when you look through the windows, because I had the troop compartment doors closed, but you could still see a little bit through those 4 windows on each side. And I think I added seat belts and some of the seat, adjusted a little bit on the seat cushions as well. Yeah. Oh, you used to work on the F-15s when you were on active duty, is that right? Outstanding. Thanks for letting us know. Wow. Please tell us more. I would love to know more about that. That's great. I remember Desert Storm 91. I was in middle school. And I remember we would watch, I think it was ABC. I think it was Peter Jennings on ABC. And they would talk about the upgraded F-15, the F-15E, and it was just like such an important new aircraft. I remember that. I've always liked it. I like the F-15E. Personally, when I tackle an F-15 at some point, which I do plan to do, it'll probably be the F-15C, just because I like the single seater. I like the earlier ones. I don't know, something about the earlier versions of the jets that I really like. All right, I think we're doing pretty good here. Just want to get things sanded down flush. I spent enough time too on there were mold lines all over these, of course. So I took those off. Okay. So, get a little picky here. All right. So what I need to do is, oh, right, I filled in some pin marks at the bottom as well. I wasn't sure if I was going to fold them up. As you can see in the photos, they would kind of fold them up. So I just added some glue there just in case, but I think I'm going to leave them down. But either way, let's take it off. Let's get it flush. This is a fairly coarse sanding stick. It should get it done in no time. My favorite way of filling pin marks is to just load up the CA, let it sit, and then sand away. Don't have to deal with any sort of shrinking putty. It's pretty much done. But you got to make sure it's filled up. There's a bit of a mound. When it dries, it starts to harden and make a shape, and it'll sort of level out a little bit. So you got to sometimes put 2 layers. All right. I think we're just about there. This one. Let me know in the chat what the temperature is where you are. I think I'm not sure what it is outside, but my thermometer is saying we're 80 in the room currently, so I think I'm gonna have to open up a door here. All right, let's work down some of this. Some of these scratches. Not too worried about it. I think I'm gonna have the seats down, but you know, this will do. Iceland working on F-15Cs during Desert Storm. Wow. Rotated back to the state when they went to Saudi. Wow. Thank you for your service. It's incredible. All right. Yeah, I find that Desert Storm, first Desert Storm, Desert Storm, yeah, it's the only one, but 1981, I find that whole conflict fascinating, if you want to call it a conflict. I mean, we dominated so much, but really, really fascinating. Every now and then I'll pull up General Schwarzkopf's famous speech and listen to him, and yeah, just it's a fascinating war for sure. All right, I'm gonna use some, before I get too far ahead, I want to use some Tamiya tape for the cushion area here. And I'm using Tamiya tape. First of all, it's super easy to use, and second of all, it's got a little bit of a texture to it, and I think it's just going to look appropriate. And what I need to do, what I'm focusing mostly on, is just getting it to be wrapped around, because it should be wrapped around these poles, not the way it looks here. Looking at my references here, let me just kind of show you what I'm working with. I have 5 references for this helicopter since I had already built it. This one is good. This has really, really incredible detail shots. And you can see here, they're folded up. Here they are dropped. And there's another shot here as well. And I'm also using a Verlinden book And these are fun because they literally, in the captions, they point out things that the modeler should be paying attention to. So it's definitely a book for modelers. But here's another shot of the seats folded up, and here's them sort of drop down. One thing I will note is that when they're in the seated position, they touch the floor, but they're still at an angle. So I'm going to try to not make them perfectly perpendicular to or parallel to the floor. All right, but let's see here. Okay, I want to kind of have this cut out and then wrap it around. So let's just work on this. Get a little metal ruler. Let's go with millimeters here. Okay, about 5. I need a better pencil than the one I have here. This doesn't respond well to the Tamiya tape, so. Anybody have any recommendations, good pencils to, look, I can barely see that. I was gonna kind of eye it. Hopefully I get it the first shot. If not, I'll redo it. Let's just go ahead and cut here. I want to start investing in some drafting tools. So if anybody has any recommendations, places to get that sort of thing. A nice compass would be great. Some right angle rulers would be terrific. I'm looking for some good ones of those. I went on Amazon, but I was like, I bought 2 on Amazon and they were just so cheaply made. I was so disappointed. All right, I think this will work. Let's do it again. There we go. Yeah, let's do it again. It's a little, the cut was a little bit at an angle, so let's just do it once again. Do this. Let's use our pen. See if that works better. There we go. Okay. Yes, just not very accurate. Let's try that. Let me know in the chat if you like scratch building. If not, why not? If you do like to scratch build, what do you like to scratch build in particular? I like to scratch build because I want to add more detail. I think that's pretty obvious. Okay, I'm gonna actually just cut some of this off. Let's do it. Some people like to scratch build because they want to make the part look more accurate. That's definitely do that at times as well. Let's go right there. Oh, she used scissors for this. All right, I think that'll work. Okay. And then I was thinking about adding the tape to these guys as well. When I'm looking at those, yeah, it's really the same kind of texture. I'm just taking a look here. The question is, how do I fold it over? Actually, you know what I might do is just go ahead and get the exact shape and just lay it on top and not worry about the texture on the sides. I think that's going to make the most sense for me. So let's get a new piece of tape going. Let's take this off for now. All right. And give me 5 seconds. I just need to open up this door here. Okay, back. Sorry about throwing the microphone. I just realized as I did that, I was like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that. Hopefully it did not hurt your ears too bad. '84 in Northwest Florida, wow. It's day 63 with 97 humidity in central Maine, but my room is way hotter, oh boy. Good old number 2 Ticonderoga pencil, yeah, works good, yeah. I don't have a number 2 lying around, unfortunately. May have to get one. Get a pack of them, just have them at the ready. Let's do this. Let me see if I can kind of cheat here. Lay it first and then cut. How about that? Will that work? Yeah. This might be the way to go. And then I'll just pull it down on the sides a little bit at the edge. Perfect. That'll work just fine. All right. Bring it down. Stomach growling. That might work. All right. Here are those helicopters again. Let's do it again this time. For the edge. There we go. I don't have to worry about cutting those pegs. And you know what I could do is I could add a little wrinkle in there on purpose. I think I'll just not though, but I could add a little wrinkle on purpose just to make it a little more lifelike. Just like that. go. Great. That'll work. Once it's all primed and painted, it'll look good. Okay, so now I want to deal with the legs. And there's kind of a particular way this goes here. So I'm going to have this bar of 3 and then 2 underneath, which need to be added. So I think I'll start there, those 2 underneath first. And then there's a bar that extends, yeah, here. It's kind of got an angle to it, okay? And then these are touching the floor, but the seats are, again, sit at an angle. So I think first what I want to do is, like I said, take care of the 2 that'll go across here. And I want to have them terminate not at the floor exactly. It looks like they're just a little bit higher than the floor. So right about there, that length. And I think that this will be the right type of rod. It could be a little bit thinner, but the thinnest one I have, or the next thin one I have, is a little bit too thin. I don't know if that's where I want to go. Actually, it's not terrible. It's just the thinner it is, the harder it could be to work with sometimes. But you know what? Let's go with this. Let's go with this. All right. Okay. How are we going to tackle this? Okay, I'm going to first cut at an angle here. Something like that. I want to work with tweezers here. And that's going to set essentially like this. All right, and I think, oh, sorry about that. Keep knocking this camera, sorry about that. Are you guys working on a kit right now as we sit here in this live stream? If so, let me know. You already said what you're working on, but let me know if you're actually literally working on it. I think that'd be pretty cool to know. I'm going to use this Tamiya cement. I've had really good luck with this in the past. And I want to try it here again. Yeah, this stuff's great. The Tamiya Extra Thin, which I do like to use, and I've been using it for all of the detailing, all the scratch building I've done so far on this. But this stuff can be, these two can be a little bit aggressive. And I find that this, the orange one here, doesn't seem to melt or harm the plastic as much as the others. So, all right, I'm looking at this piece, this little bit of this little notch here. I'm guessing that's probably center. So I'm going to try to cut at that point and add a bit of an angle. Okay, so let's see if I can achieve that. Oh, could not do it. Okay, so I might have to cut it to shape ahead of time. What I don't really want to use is CA. I don't want to use super glue on this kind of work. I want it to be a little bit malleable. All right, let's try this. I'll mark it. Okay. out there. All right. Sometimes I have to remind myself that I don't need to work too hard to get, I don't have to be so particular. All right, it's going a little bit past center. Oh, it's not even staying. All right, you know what? I'm gonna eat my words. I'm gonna go with the extra thin here. The dark green bottle, remember, is for when we want to put a piece and then, or put a drop of it and then put the two pieces together. Okay. The light green is for you put the two pieces together and then you drop the glue in between. Sometimes you can get away with doing a drop of this stuff, the light green, and then putting them together, but it evaporates real quick, and that's just not the purpose of it. So, all right, I think that will do. Let's get that out of the way completely. All right. All right. Cut that piece first. Anybody see any good movies lately? I started watching an old John Wayne movie I saw about a year ago called Hellfighters. Fantastic movie. He plays an expert how do you explain it? He caps off fires on oil rigs, and he's like one of the few in the country that is really good at it. And it's about he's got a guy that he works with who's also really great, and then he wants to the guy he works with wants to marry his estranged daughter. John Wayne's estranged daughter, to be clear. And it's really fantastic. And yeah, just a fun movie. John Wayne's excellent as usual. Really recommend it. Anyway, that's what I've been watching. Not generally a new movie kind of person. I am interested in seeing the backrooms though. When it comes out on streaming, I'll definitely give it a look. All right, it's kind of working. It's a little fussy. I think we're just about there. All right, there we go. And you'll notice I used the dark green here in the way that I would normally use the light green. I put the pieces down and then added the glue. So there is a little bit of these glues can double duty a little bit, but generally you want to use them what they're intended for. All right, I think that'll work. Okay, it's not perfectly even down the middle. I'm not too worried about it. think it'll be okay. I think everybody will survive. All right. Next. I think I should probably get these on next. And then let's trying to work out the problem here in my head. Here, let's see. Nope. I do want to create the 3-legged brace here. And when I sanded, I filled in these holes with some extra plastic. So I want to kind of dig that out because I actually want to use these holes as places to put the styrene rod. I think that'll work out well. I'll bet if I left that plastic in there, that could actually help with the adhesive, as long as it's not dry CA, which it could be too. All right. So we're going to start there and then bend to here and then add an extra piece in the center. I think that's how we're going to do this. All right, so tricky part is figuring out how tall, I'm going to have to add a little bit of glue here, how tall I need to make it. You'll notice the Tamiya tape is coming up a little bit, so what I'm going to do is I will drop like so, put it in place, and no more problems. All right. All right, so let's take a look at the piece here. What I could do is use the original piece to eyeball it, or to use this as a judge to how tall it should be. But the kit, it looks like they made it so, sorry, there we go. So the seats lay flat, right? And I don't want that. I want to depict it as I see here. So I need to go a little bit longer. These feet need, or the legs need to be a little bit longer than what the kit part was. So I can do that. I can kind of eyeball it a little bit. By the way, is my camera shaking for you guys? Shaking a little bit, huh? We talked about this in the last stream. I've been having some issues with it. Let's see here. Let me zoom out and see if that helps at all. All right, so let's I think that'll work fine. I'm going to make the leg much longer than it needs to be. Kind of stretch it like so. Okay, I think, I'm not liking how this is looking. This is a very wide angle. Let me see if I can try something smaller. Let's clip it off. That was a result of the width of that tool there. So if I go to pair of tweezers, it squares it off a little bit more. Yeah, that much more closely resembles. my reference. All right, so right about a little further in. Again, I'm using the part piece to kind of gauge where I think I should bend it. And let's start there. Go a little past. So, oh, I think we snapped it. Darn it. Yeah. All right, what I could do, tell you what, let's do this. I want to see if that was good match with the holes. Pretty good. All right, so let's do this. Rather than toss the piece and try again, I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue here in the corner. Okay. All right, set that aside. And I might need a backup anyway, so let's leave that aside in case I do. Okay, let's do another one. There we go. Okay. I will need 2 of these, obviously. Right about there. Push it a little past. Okay. And then bring them back. This is why I love working with plastic as opposed to wire or something. Brass. All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Place them in the hole. Good. All right. So the length is correct. I just got to make sure. You can see about the height. Okay. I bet this is far too much, but let's see how much I need to clip off roughly. And this should also kick out a little bit at an angle as well. Okay. All right. Here's, at this point, I'm going to glue these on, and I'm going to glue them at the angle that I wish for them to be. Let's use, there is an extra hinge in the center. There's hinges on the sides and then one more in the center. I might emulate that, just FYI. We'll see if it matters. Let's do it this way. All right. I want to take off quite a bit of the cement from the brush because I don't need all that much. Just enough to get inside and to lightly melt the pieces. All right, that angle looks pretty good. Maybe a little lower. Okay. All right, and then, actually I don't want to glue this on yet because I want to now use this again as a guide for the last one I want to make. Let's get another piece out. Make sure it's the same width. All right, good. And I still need a middle leg as well. but let's just start with the frame. Oh, it's still shaking. All right. Yeah, I've determined that the shaking isn't from the mounts that I'm using. That it's the phone is, it's from the phone. So I'm not exactly sure how to fix it at the moment. I'll apparently the phones, after they after time, they have a little I don't know exactly what it is that balances the camera, but there's something in there that starts to break over time. All right, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. We're gonna stick with this camera for a second. I'm just gonna turn this off. I'm gonna see if turning it off and turn it back on helps. Let's see if there's anything else I can do to help. All right, let's try again. All right. No shaking, much better. Good. Okay, great. Okay. At some point, I need to get a new phone. That's for sure. All right. Thanks for joining me, guys. I was sitting here getting ready to work on this bench, and I said, you know what? It would be kind of fun to do a live stream tonight. I was in the mood for it. Normally try to plan these things out, give you guys at least a couple hours in advance, but I said, let's go for it. So thanks for joining. Okay, right about there. Let me double check. Yeah, it's a little too much. The tricky part is once I've bent the plastic a little bit, it's really hard to get it right back to where it was. So you kind of, it's either get it right the first time or you gotta do it again. I think I managed to fix that though. I'm trying to use my fingers so that I don't go past the point where it breaks. All right, that's no, we're gonna do it again. Let's do it right. Okay. in. I like where this is going. I was really happy. I got a notice from Squadron today, squadron.com, that a kit I was on a kind of a wait list for is back in stock. So I immediately bought it. Kind of didn't even care about the price. The price is a little bit more than it should be, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere else, and I've been wanting it. So it's the, as I mentioned, I think in the last live stream, the M3 Stewart. It's the hybrid version, and it's the one that's got the, I think they're just oil cans on the side, on the rear, and it's got the nice yellow stripe with the yellow star insignia on it. And I've always loved that look. I can't remember where I saw it as a kid, but I saw it somewhere, either in a fine scale modeler magazine. I was looking through my my M3 Osprey book, and I have, I think, an M3 Squadron book, and I just couldn't find the photos of that particular one that I visualized in my mind's eye. I'm not sure where I saw that, but I remember seeing that as a kid and just thinking it was so cool, and that they have basically the same insignia on the same vehicle. I thought that was pretty neat. So I've been hunting it down and wanting it. And it was on eBay, but again, it was, you know, very, very pricey. So I'm just glad, glad Squadron got back and was able to fulfill that order. All right. That'll work. Okay, got two. Trying to think, do I want to put them on and then add that third leg in there? I probably just want to do everything all three at the same time. So let's do that. All right, so for this, I'm going to use because after the fact, I want to put the piece down and then add the glue. So I'm going to use the extra thin, the light green, kind of eyeball the center, drop it right onto here. I'm not really worried about the fact that it's on I'm doing this on the mat. Really, the plastic pieces should just, oh no, is it gripping a little bit? Darn. Let me try it on the paper here. I had some good luck with that before. All right. That's not really center either. There we go. Oh, I think I've lost it. I picked up some magnets and a metal board to make a jig for this sort of thing. I don't think the jig will work in this case. I think these are just too fine and too small pieces to work with. But can I show you what I got here? There have been a couple situations where I was making some walls and I thought this was going to work out well. So basically, these are all little magnets, you know, and I can put a plastic piece in between, for instance, you know, right? And then hold it up and then use other pieces and get pieces to align and stay in a position. So that was, that's the plan. I haven't really found a use for it just yet, but there have been a couple of times in the last kit that I worked on where I really, really needed a jig. All right, the piece seems glued. Let's I want to make sure that this angle is correct. Make sure this angle is good. Let's cut some of this off here. Okay. let's make sure they're aligned well. Yeah, they look like they're gonna be aligned just fine. All right, now I really just need to figure out how long I'm gonna make it, okay? Now, up to this point right here, that ridge is where the floor is going to be. In fact, let me see if I can bring the floor in here so that I can not have to guess too much. Okay. And again, I wanted it angled out just a little bit, like the photos. All right. And the piece is still at an angle and angled out. So I would say here, I've angled it out and it's going to be right about there. So let me see if I can mark it. Okay, I think I was only able to mark one. That's all right. And let's use the length of the X-Acto blade. A little larger so I can see it from a distance. All right, here we go. Let's bring this piece in a little bit. Okay, drag it as straight. I'm going to go a little bit past it. That piece is being difficult. Yeah, I'm going to go a little past it because it's going to sit inside those little pegs. And I'd rather leave too much than take off too much. That's one of the rules for scratch building. All right. Okay. Good. Place inside. I'll still need to angle it forward, but now that I've got them in here, I'm going to take advantage of that. There we go. Bring it forward. And there we go. Okay. I think it's a little bit too big. Okay. Wonder if there's something else I can do here. And the shape is not exactly right. So let's see, how picky am I going to get with this? Oh, it wasn't pushed in all the way. Okay, that's why it looked uneven. Okay. Yeah, still right a little bit high. Let's just try it one more time. Pull them out. Take them out. Go up a little bit more off. I'll get this right. I can feel it. I know, I'm getting super picky. It's one of the things I do. try that. Try to get them back in there. There's some melted plastic in there, so it can be difficult to get them back in. Let me clear some of it out. Anybody read any good books lately? Let us know in the chat. I really like the movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Tarantino film. Showed it to my brother-in-law when he was over this last week, and he loved it. And I've had the book, the novel, to the movie for a while now, and decided to break it open and read it, and started reading it last night. You probably don't think of Tarantino when you think of novels, but I like it. I like that it gives, because it's a book, it'll give you a lot more information, a lot more background to the characters. And I just find the movie just really compelling, and the characters very compelling too, so it seemed like a good book to read since I'm all inspired. All right, you're being difficult right here. Let's it's just not kind of sitting in there like I was hoping it would. All right, let's add a little bit of this glue, the dark green. And now this won't evaporate as quickly as the light green. That's why I like to use it for these purposes. All right, let's see if that'll work. Set it in, and I'm probably going to be happy with wherever we're at this point. Okay, good. Yeah, we're going to go with that. Ta-da! Okay, phew. Let's... Next one. I'm going to glue this piece on as well, and then angle it. Take off most of the cement. I just want it to like a hint of it in there. All right. Okay. Let's get that third leg going. The second time I do it, everything moves a little bit faster. Love that about scratch building. I'm a big fan of actually scratch building the same thing twice. The second time, always infinitely better, without fail. This might be my favorite part of model building, to be honest with you. The construction. I was thinking about this today. I enjoy painting. I enjoy the airbrushing, the decals I could do without. The weathering, certainly, but I think the scratch building, the super detailing is the most fun. I don't know exactly why. All right, I'm just gonna take it out. I kind of wish I had left the piece available so I knew how long to make it, but I'm going to, I feel like eyeballing it. That is dangerous. Let's go ahead and measure it. Now a little bit longer than the measurement here because I need to go, so we'll go right up to 5 millimeters. Let's do that. about a 1/2 millimeter longer than it looked, but I think that needs to fit into the piece. And I'm going to go probably just a little bit after that as well. A little longer than that as well. All right. I got 3 points here. I'm going to risk the shaking and go ahead and zoom in, see what I can, yeah, looks fine. All right, make sure these are at the right angle. Rest at the right place. There we go. Great. Oh, Tom Clancy, The Bear and the Dragon. Cool. Very cool. Yeah. I got the audiobooks of those on Audible. I haven't listened to Audible in probably, gosh, 6 months now. But I've got all the Tom Clancy novels just sitting there ready to go. That's cool. Is that the one that starts off with a kid in Afghanistan? I think he's got a Stinger missile launcher and he shoots it at one of these Mi-24s. I think there's it was like one of the first of the Jack Ryan novels. And I think that's how it starts out. I wonder if that was The Bear and the Dragon. Or it might have been I forget what the title was. Yeah. Cool. That's pretty neat though. Great. Yeah. Speaking of Tom Clancy, I really like the movie Patriot Games. Have you guys seen that one with Harrison Ford, Sean Bean? Let's see who else is in it. A young Nora Birch, is that her name? Yeah, a lot of good actors. Samuel L. Jackson's in it. James Earl Jones. Yeah, great movie. And then I believe the sequel to that would be Clear and Present Danger, which is an okay movie. Willem Dafoe's in it. He's great in it. But yeah, Patriot Games. That's one that I kind of grew up with. China-Russia War one. Okay. All right. Yeah, I gotta listen to those again. Richard Harris is in Patriot Games 2. The famous Camelot actor. Boy, he's a character. His son is the main actor from the HBO series Chernobyl, which is a very, very good series. If you haven't seen that, I recommend it. Tim, I know you've seen it. We've talked about it before. But his son, is it David Harris? I can't remember now. His son is that main actor. All right, I think that'll work. Like I said, the second one goes faster than the first one, for sure. All right. Facing this different way, it's okay. All right, let's test it out. Drop it in place. Check the angles from the side. And that is looking pretty darn solid. I am happy with that. All right, I'm missing a few things, right? I'm missing one more brace that goes from, let's see. Let me actually work from this angle, this side. I need 4 of them. 2 on each side. One from here down at an angle a little bit and then comes up to the pole. Or, yeah, it comes up to the pole here. So not only is it angled, got a little kink in it, it's also gonna double check. Yeah, it's gonna angle from here to there. Okay. So it seems to be the same width as the others. And this might be something where I could do it from here. All right, I'm trying to think now. Is there, yeah, you know, I'd rather take it out. I was thinking, could I just start, you know, set everything in place and then add the pieces as I go, but I really want to remove this so that I can paint everything together, or everything separately, I should say. All right, so anything, oh, we're gonna need seatbelts after this. Mamma mia. Yeah, we get it on time. Okay, I think we're good. Let's see, Red Storm Rising is my favorite Tom Clancy novel. Jack Ryan, yeah, cool. I really intend on reading or listening to all of them. For sure. Oh, Hunt for Red October too is, of course, in that series as well. I prefer Harrison Ford in that role, Jack Ryan. But what's his name? What's the Alec Baldwin? He did a good job in that movie too. Although I'm not a big fan of him generally. Yeah. Ever since he let that lady get shot, or I guess shot that lady on the set of that movie, I've been kind of not a big fan of Alec Baldwin. Watched that trial too. They got out of it through a technicality. Pretty interesting stuff. He should have been acquitted. The prosecutor withheld some evidence, and to me that's a major violation. I think warrants a mistrial. But yeah, that was a shame nonetheless. All right, I'm just trying to make sure. Yeah, there we go. Okay, we're gonna go with green here, dark green. I'm gonna set it on first, and then I'll clip it with the Tamiya clippers. Yeah, it's not really. Let's take it off. I'm gonna, for this one, I think I'm gonna use CA glue. Let's try that. And I'm also gonna cut a little bit of an angle here. All right, we're gonna do it this way. Okay, it's gonna be more steady, more secure. Oh, easy, easy. All right. Now for this, it's just going to sit right down here, and I want it to fuse fairly well. So again, I'm going to use Tamiya Light here. Good, and we should be good. All right, so that's the idea. I got to do 4 or 3 more of these here. Just make a little kink here, or crimp. I don't know what the word is. There we go. I'll use some CA there. Do it in reverse order. All right. I don't think I'm going to have my next video ready this weekend, but I'm feeling pretty good about having it ready next weekend. Take a little longer to edit. Looking forward to revealing the next model video. It's what I'm super, super proud of. I think ultimately we're looking at 2 or 3 videos, and that should cover the model. I could do it all in one fell swoop, but I think it'd be too much. I find that the viewers, though, when you guys watch my videos, you really like the full model builds. Oh, by the way, if you wouldn't mind in the chat, just let me know how you feel about this. According to my stats, it seems like people really like the full model build videos, everything in one shot from beginning to end. On the other hand, I like breaking them down into sort of chapters. Sometimes a whole build, will be 4 to 6 chapters, depending on if it's an aircraft. Generally 4 videos. Armor could be 5. I've done up to like 9. But then when I put them all together and do that one full video, it just gets a lot more traction. So just curious if you guys wouldn't mind, just let me know in the chat. Which do you prefer and why? Yeah, that'd be great. Let me know. I was looking at the MicroMark website. It's been a while since I bought anything from MicroMark, but I thought I'd give them another chance. And was looking at a tool that was kind of like a tweezer, but it was a pair of scissors, like really, really small, really fine scissors. I think they call them like micro scissors or something like that. So that looked interesting. There are times where I want to, instead of using these big old clippers, I'd rather just have something like a tweezer and just go snip, So I wonder how those work. If you happen to have that tool or something like it, let me know too. I'm looking for some advice on that. mouse is not, it's just not trying quick enough. Let me, let's try this. When the CA doesn't dry quick enough, sometimes I find that if I just add a new drop, it's ready to go. And I also wanted to clip off the end because I got too much buildup of glue there. So let's try this again. Yep. Sorry, I'm shaking. All right. Sometimes I bump into the. Is the phone shaking again? Turn it. All right. Give me a second here, and I'll make some adjustments again. Hey Connor, if you could put, go ahead and give yourself a plug there in the chat. Let everybody know what your channel is. Connor's got his own channel, and I recommend it. Okay. It's a little more finicky. And one more. Okay. It's gotta be a little bigger than that. All right. I think I just about got it here. All right, put another drop kind of all around. Okay, even if it's a spot where I use some CA, I'm just gonna add a little more extra thin to fill up those spaces a little bit. All right, phew, that guy's done. Okay, now, well, I say it's done. We need belts. All right, yep. There's Connor's URL. Do check out his page or his channel. I've got to actually upload something. Yeah, upload something there, Connor. Do it. It's the only way to get people to watch. You got to upload. It's tricky. There's a real balance to this. You know, live streams do not get much traction. I mean, I get people watching, which is great, but you got to make videos in order to get something going on YouTube. All right. need to do now is check the references, kind of see if I can figure out the seatbelt situation. I was trying to think too, like, are the seatbelts in these modern vehicles, well, when I say modern, I mean the vehicles displayed here in the books, because these are restored, or were seatbelts actually used? And I imagine flying around in a helicopter, you're probably going to have seatbelts. I don't think that's just a restored aircraft thing or restored helicopter thing. So yeah, I think it's authentic to just keep them, to put them in here. I'm not exactly sure the configuration of how they would look. The photos, you know, they're kind of like, they're not exactly buckled and made to look orderly. So it's really kind of difficult to figure out what the seatbelt situation is. Okay, so I'm just gonna look ahead in the book, see if I can find other photographs of the interior. Nope. Oh, okay, hang on. We got some black and white photos here of the inside of the D. Okay, there's a seatbelt here draped down. Or some sort of, looks like a hook. Interesting. All right. This book. Love this book. Love it. It's massive. It has lots of great photos. Deals with many of the different variants of this helicopter. Some decent interior shots. I don't recall if they okay, yeah, they do show us the seats. Oh, okay. Let's take a look here. Cargo hold with bench seats. For ferry purposes, cargo department can accommodate 2 fuel tanks. Oh, fuel tanks. Okay. I really got to sit down and read through some of this text in this book, but we're shaking here. All right. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna pause this camera again. Thank you for your patience. Talk to you here. Okay, let's see if that helped at all. All right. It's very slight. Okay. They have 2 bench seats here in this one, which is interesting. God, I hope I don't have to make 2. I think, yeah, we'll stick with 1. It's fine. I'm sure these are removable too, depending on what the operation is. All right, so we've got a layout here of the seatbelts. It looks pretty good. It actually looks to me like we're looking at 4 sets of seatbelts. So sitting there with these 2, there, these 2, and the same on the other side. All right, and then we've got the male piece, if you will, slips into the female piece there. So, all right, so those are fairly modern looking seatbelts. If you think of like that scene in Jurassic Park where they're in the helicopter, I think that kind of configuration. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I've got some Annie's seatbelt buckles, universal ones. I've used quite a bit of these up. So I got to kind of work with what I have here. These are the female side, the female ones, and you have to kind of fold these up. But what I think I might do, I might go with these 4 here. They don't look exact to what I have here. Again, this is probably, I don't know if they're going to replace the seatbelts on restored vehicles. But I think this is what I have to work with. So I'll put this one on one side and this one on the other. And we're just going to have to accept that. All right. Let's do it. Let's first thing I want to do is cut out some strips of Tamiya tape. That's what I'm going to use for the belt itself. Okay, I'm not sure exactly the length. Let's double check here. I'm going to slip, and I want to have them twisted and laid out, you know, kind of a haphazard way on these seats. But I'm going to slip through here, and so that will determine the width of the belt. So roughly, I mean, it's really just 1/32. Even a millimeter is too large. Okay, so I'm just going to eyeball it at this point. Yeah, they look fairly thin in the picture too. So let's go with this. Okay, pull that up. Do another one. All right. So now, one of my favorite ways of taking pieces off this size is to use a scalpel. I think that's the method I'm going to use here. However, I have to say, if you don't have a pair of these are incredible. These are Xuron photo etch scissors. And let me show you why they're great. If I were to clip this with Tamiya clippers, it would be a pain, right? Here, I just go clip. And they actually cut, like I guess the word I'm looking for is shear, like scissors. Look at that. It's not clipping it. It's literally cutting the metal. These are wonderful. I'm not gonna, it's just too delicate here to work with this. I need something a little more pinpoint, so I'm gonna have to use a scalpel, but these are excellent. I highly recommend those. All right. Scalpel is under a bunch of stuff, of course. Okay, I need to get this guy out of the way. Okay. All right. So now, did I just lose something? Oh no. Let's see what's on the tape. I got 1, 2, 3 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right. Lift the finger slightly so the piece can stay on, and I'm going to send. Let's try that again. I lost it again. All right, I've got spares of those. I have 2 extra. I've also got down here a mat. Show you in my lap here. I've got a little mat ready to go in case I lose something. So I don't see it. That's okay. Oh, there. No, it's there. All right. Again, lick the finger a little bit. Sorry if it's gross. Try to send this through. It's not working. All right, we're gonna have to use tweezers to hold the piece. And this, actually I wanna, there we go. There we go. Now what I'd like to do, if I can, is pull it all the way through, or pull it through halfway. I got another pair of tweezers. There's another bit here. There we go. There we go. All right. They kind of hung over the seat belt, or the seat, excuse me, the seat itself. So I'd say right about there. And I'm going to roll this over. And then if I have it slightly askew, what I'm doing is I'm mating the adhesive sides together right now. If I have a little bit askew, it looks like more material, like a real seatbelt might look. Try to get a little more taut. Okay. So I'm going to try to set it at an angle a little bit, not perfectly lined up. Get a little crimp there, that's fine too. Looks kind of cool. All right, I like how that looks. All right, so now trim this. About there. And then this piece will set somewhere in there like that. Okay, so there's one. I need to make a few of these. So I'll need some more strips of tape, since that's how I'm going to do it. And you know what? I think we're going to stop here in the live stream because it's going to get real repetitive. All right. Thank you so much for joining. This was fun. I hope you had a good time. Yeah, I should have that next video out next weekend, and I would like to live stream again. I'm considering actually live streaming at some point this week during the day, maybe even tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. I'm sure many of you won't be able to. Oh, my head blocked the shot. Oh no. Sorry. Of course it did. I may, yeah, I'll live stream again soon. Again, I want to try during the day, see what that's like. I'm sure many of you work, so that's okay. I got 2 more weeks and I got to go back and I'll be in the same situation. But I want to, yeah, I just want to use up that time I've got during the day to live stream too. Okay, we'll end it here. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Have a good one. That's it. All right, goodbye.